Welcome into the Pats Nation. I'm Corso. CATONE is here. Joe's with us in the booth. You are watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, 790 The Score. Anyway, you podcast, you can catch us. And hey, listen, when you're on YouTube, make sure you're subscribing. Hit that thumbs up. Give us that like. We really appreciate that. And leave a comment. We can read it on the show. And for your listening and watching pleasure, Mark.
Okay. Yeah, hit the buttons, hit all the buttons. Chris don't know what you're hitting, but just hit them.
And we want to hear from you too. And Heated Hotline, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S. It's a message line. Leave a message 24/7. We will pick one, or you can leave us an email in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. Got a busy one today in Weekly Rewind. Hey, we're going to talk some more about that. We're going to talk about that Milton thing. We talked a little bit about it yesterday on Corso and Catone. We're going to talk about that Milton deal, and also going to talk about the draft, a few scenarios and things like that. And we're going to hear from one of you also in Heated Hotline. And then in Pat's preview, we're going to talk safeties and corners, getting closer to the wide receivers, Mark, where you want to go.
Next week. I can't wait.
Good morning. How you doing, guys?
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Only 2 more weeks to the draft.
Yeah, and then what? After that,
then we
real dog days.
Oh, Jesus. Is it the dog days? Yeah.
Talk about misery. Oof. Anyway, so, but in this show, we got a lot to get to. So we're going to start with Weekly Rewind. Are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Joe? I'm going back through the week. About a weekly rewind. So, Mark, this week, a couple of things to talk about. I want to talk about some draft scenarios. But first, Joe Milton was traded. Joe, you had a fun title for yesterday's Corso and Catone show. What was it?
Where'd you go?
Bazooka Joe? Yeah, that was nice.
I did. That was good.
And is it just a sign of where we are in the year that we're talking about this?
Yeah, I think we at this point, we're losing our minds. I think we're making a big deal out of a 6th-round quarterback who played against guys that it came out of Uber. They were Uber drivers an hour before the game, and Buffalo put them in uniform, for Christ's sakes.
Well, we should be talking about the Battlehawks instead,
We should be. Oh, you got your Battlehawks. For our viewers, you lost your mind. He's got a Battlehawk shirt on, St. Louis Battlehawks, because it's the what is
UFL.
It? UFL. The
United
UFL.
Football League. They're 2-0.
But you don't understand. He's texting me during these games. Like, I'm not watching the Chris, I'm not watching it, pal. You lost your mind.
Yeah, great. Can't love it. Football. It's football. I gotta watch it. That's it. But Mark, this does bring up a couple of things though, as it relates to the office, the front office, how they're doing things, what they're concerned about as far as culture. Now, the story comes out. We heard from Mike Florio. Joe, do we have that?
We do have that.
There's been this quiet buzz about Joe Milton. And there's been plenty of talk that the Patriots are going to trade him because they need it to be Drake May's team. And having Joe Milton there, a guy who's confident he can play, it could undermine Drake May. And it could lead to a, wait for it, schism within some reaches of the locker room that maybe Milton's the better option than Drake May, especially if May should struggle this year. Yeah. So it felt like this trade was coming. I was surprised that it was the Cowboys, Shireen, when you have teams out there who currently have needs at the quarterback position and need to be thinking about who's going to play now and in the future. I thought those teams would be more inclined to take a Joe Milton because he is clearly going to be back up in Dallas for the 3 remaining years on his rookie contract.
So here, that's of course Mike Florio, NBC Sports, ProFootballTalk.com. Okay, so this is why I wanted to hear that. We talk about why this happened now. Now, for me, I mean, it's no skin off your ass to keep this guy through the draft into training camp. Let him throw the football around in preseason games. Maybe you grab a 4th for him. I don't know, because what they did is they got a 5th round for him, but it really only equates to maybe 6 or 7 slots from where they drafted him originally. So my question is, Why did it have to be now?
Well, because Chris, I think listen, I don't know, but nobody knows what was going on in this kid's head. If the kid thinks he should be the starting quarterback and he's going to walk around the locker room and say, if he has a good practice, and this guy played better than him today, they should give me a shot. Vrabel, and we're going to get into this a little later in the show, Chris. He made it a point that this is a different team. It's a professional team. You're professional football players. He's got a certain standard that he wants to have this team run by. He ain't dealing with that nonsense. Get rid of this kid. Who's this kid? He's a sixth round bench warmer. Get rid of him. I ain't dealing with this nonsense. Tell him to scram. And I can bring in another 7th round guy to play 3rd string quarterback. I don't need you. I don't think Vrabel was dealing with it. You could have got a 5th rounder or a 4th rounder. Vrabel just said, get me whatever. I think Vrabel just said, get him the hell out of here. I don't need to deal with him.
But does it? And I agree with the fact that it will make it too much.
Nobody's saying that, Chris.
No, I know.
Vrabel don't give it. Vrabel don't give a shit about that kid. He don't even know who he is. Get rid of him. He's a pain in the ass. Get rid of him. He don't care.
For me, though, it's not about the player himself. I don't care about the player, but it's just the optics of, okay, are we concerned? Again, it's one of those things where we give Drake May a little more credit.
Yeah.
So far, all I've heard about is I want to bring receivers in the room that are going to disrupt May's maturation and how we're progressing with him. And I'm hearing this about the quarterback, like a Bailey Zappi thing, and now I'm hearing this about the quarterback. Come on. Come on.
Can I ask you a question, Chris? But is it really May, or is the Patriots organization just got PTSD from what happened with Mac Jones?
I think there's still some of that. I do. I think there's still some of that, but get over that. God, you're 2 regimes now since.
Yeah.
And the kid can handle it. He's fine. And I say, to me, it's see, there's never you never leave a stone unturned, in my opinion. This is kind of like, and we're going to get to the draft stuff. This is kind of like that Brady thing where we don't give up on a play. We don't give up on one single play. We have a plan for what I see. We're going to call the right call. We're going to get ourselves into the right thing so we don't waste the play. I kind of look at this like that, where I say, why are we wasting any type of opportunity? I'm going to get a 5th round pick anytime I want for him, So don't leave any stone unturned when you're trying to turn around a franchise. Because a 4th round pick does make a difference between a 5th round pick, the way you and I draft and prepare for it,
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't cost you anything to keep this kid hanging around. What's the difference?
Yeah. And Chris,
in the locker room?
Yeah. And Elliott Wolf, Chris, right? He drafting him last year, two quarterbacks in the same draft, and there was reports, that pissed off, May's family that they took a quarterback, but that's Green Bay's way. That's what he learned. That's his playbook. Take the two, you take the 2 quarterbacks, the backup develops, you save them, you get an asset for them, and that was what Green Bay did, right?
They held on to their guys. They held on to him a little longer and let him go through preseason.
A little longer. But Wolf ain't calling this. This is also showing I believe, that Wolf ain't calling the shots anymore, Chris. Because Wolf wouldn't have made this deal if Wolf was still calling the shots. I think this was Vrabel. Clean the goddamn room out. Get rid of this idiot, right? I don't want. He wants to walk around and tell people I should be the starter. Get rid of him. If that's really what happened, I don't know. I don't want to disparage this kid's reputation, Milton. We don't know what happened. Yeah. But this, I think, solidifies the fact that Wolf ain't calling the shots, Chris, because Wolf wouldn't have got rid of him this quickly. I think this was Vrabel saying, he's gone. Yeah. Get rid of him. I don't care what you get for him.
So more stuff during the week. We're talking about draft scenarios, and I want to get to a few of these. So Hunter, there's a lot of talk Hunter to Cleveland where people are saying, okay, it's going to be Ward, Hunter, maybe Carter. These guys are going to be gone, and here comes New England. And a lot of mock drafts have New England taking Campbell at the 4 spot. Okay. So do we agree? Do we agree off the top that if Hunter or Campbell are there, we take Carter, that we're taking one of those guys?
Yes.
If either one of them fall, they're probably going to take them, right? I know you think they don't like Hunter, but you also think.
But they have to take him. They can't pass on him. They have to take him. If he's there, they have to take him.
The more interesting thing is what happens if he's not. What happens if either one of those guys are not? And by the way, the Walker stuff from Georgia over Carter, I love Walker from Georgia. You know that. And I think he's going to be a Pro Bowler. But I'm not taking him over Carter. So
No. Okay.
No.
No, me either.
now
Me either.
we go so situations, Mark. So they're picking at 4th, and then they got the 38th pick. What are you doing?
If Carter
Both of
and
those
Hunter
guys are
off
gone.
the board, okay, I'm probably looking to see if somebody wants Sanders. I'm probably trading down to 6 or 7. I'm
Like a
trading down.
Vegas.
Yes, I'm trading down low enough. But I'm not trading down too low because I do want to make sure that I get Jalen Walker. I won't take a tackle. I want Jalen Walker. That's what I want. I want some draft capital. Okay. Then I'm going to come back up into the first round because I want the wide receiver from Ohio State, who is going to be a 1 wide receiver in this league. I want him. That'll allow you to do that. Now, depending on what that costs you to get back into the first round, depending on what you got for draft capital after the trade down, maybe if you still got a second-round pick, you could take a tackle then. But if you don't, because you had to use your second-round pick to come back up and take the receiver, I'm okay with that. I take a tackle in the 3rd round, Chris. And you talked about last week, you love this kid from Boston College. You take him in the 3rd round. So now you take your left tackle, you got a number 1 wide receiver, in my opinion, and you get Jalen Walker, who's going to be a difference maker on the defense that you don't have right now. And I think that's a great start to your draft. A great start to your draft if those are your first 3 picks.
Yeah. Yeah, and listen, I love Walker. You know that. I mean, Carter can do it all.
But if those guys are off the board,
Yeah.
Chris,
So
Carter
for
and
me,
Hunter, what do you do?
Here's what I'm looking at. Here's an idea, and I did hear this somewhere. So
Hey,
I'm
Chris,
not going to.
everybody disagrees with us because they think we should be trading down and taking a tackle.
I know.
But go ahead.
I don't listen. I want to see what Marone can do with what we got in house. I'm not. People think I'm out of my mind, but I'm sorry. I think that
and Taquan Smith's still out there. The guy from Taquan Smith, the guy from that played for the Jets last year.
Tyron
Right?
Smith. Yeah,
Tyron Smith. Tyron.
Yeah, bring him in for a year. Draft. Okay. So
What's your scenario?
So you trade with the Jets to 7. Okay. You trade with the Jets and get the 7th pick in the draft. Give them the 4th. Maybe get a 2nd, depending on where they are. The 2nd may be too much. Maybe get a 3rd from them, something like that, or maybe another pick later on. Okay. With the 7th pick, I'm with Mark. I take Jalen Walker. Okay, that's who I take out of Georgia. He's a difference maker. I do not take Banks, and I do not take Campbell. Well, okay, if Campbell's there, I don't know what they do, but I'm taking Walker. Okay, that's what I'm doing. And then I'm with you. But part of that deal has got to be Wilson. So I'm doing the deal for 7, and I'll give up one of the draft picks on the other end, and I'll take the wide receiver Wilson because now I've solved my wide receiver 1 issue. Okay? So.
You think you could pry him out of there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. I do. And I think you solve your number 1 wide receiver issue. So you bring him in, you bring Walker in. So you got your stud to build your defense around for the next 10 years or so, or 5 with them, the way they pay. And you got your wide receiver. And then not only am I doing that, now I got an extra 3rd round pick. I got my 2nd round picks, and I got 3 3rd round picks. I got a 2nd round pick. So I'm with Mark. I'm either going to trade back up in to the 1st round and get Connolly, the left tackle out of Oregon,
Yep.
if everybody's that concerned. Or what else, Mark? Who would you and I want to take?
Well,
Instead
in the
of trading
second,
back up in.
second round, we both would take the tight end Mason Taylor out of LSU. Right.
Yep. Yeah.
So you solve your receiver issue. You need a young tight end. You solve your Pro Bowl sideline to sideline versatile linebacker who can do what Landry does. He can do it all. And by the way, in the 3rd round, you take your tackle, Chris.
Yep. Because you actually have drafted potentially 3 Pro Bowlers.
And 3 starters and 3 Pro Bowlers. Yes.
I mean, we're giving a lot to that tight end to call him a Pro Bowler yet.
We are, but I think he will be.
But we for sure got Walker and we sure got Wilson on this team.
2
And
Pro
with
Bowlers.
Wilson, with Drake May and
Pro
Diggs,
Bowler. He'll be a Pro Bowler.
that may be the best receiving core now, the top 2 in the division at that point. That's my scenario.
All right.
So
I'll
we'll
take
see.
it. Listen,
We'll
I'll
see.
take either scenario, mine or yours.
We'll see. So let us know what you think, and make sure you subscribe, like all the videos, all the shorts, all the short reels. People love those. Make sure you comment. But Weekly Rewind, this portion of Weekly Rewind was presented by CORSO and CATONE, the real deal New England feel. Hey, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about this, Mark. I want to go through a few more scenarios with you, huh? What do you think? You like this? You like the draft talk?
I love the draft talk. What else we going to talk about?
No flipping.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more
CORSO and CATONE. Saturdays at noon.
Wanted to surprise us with that, didn't you?
Oh,
So
yeah.
for our listeners on 790, Chris, tell them what that was that he just stuck in there.
Well, I mean, you heard it was Christopher Watkin on
It's Christopher
Saturday
Walken,
on Watkin, whatever, on Saturday Night Live, talking about well, that was one of the funniest sketches they have.
What
thought
they've
was
ever had. Yeah,
Will Ferrell was just
it was hilarious.
spectacular in that, wasn't he? I mean,
it was great.
Hopefully they don't sue us.
you know what? Get in line.
Get in line.
Get in line. You know, we'll do,
Law group. We'll be
yeah,
all
there
right.
you go. Take that commercial away right now.
Yeah.
Take that commercial away. So, Mark, in the last segment we talked, and we got a little into the draft. I mean, we kind of got a little ahead of ourselves. Of I kind of get excited about talking about these scenarios and all that. But back up a minute, okay? Because we're talking about the scenarios if Carter and Hunter are not there. Okay.
Yep.
Well, let's talk about what happens if they are there, or one
Hey,
of them.
can I also remind our listeners that this is you two picking, right?
Mhm.
And
Yes.
not what the Patriots will actually do and screw it all up somehow.
Right. No. If they had any brains, they'd be
if they
doing
trade
this.
down, Chris, you know they're taking Campbell, right?
Yeah. Well, this is what I want to ask you about too.
Or maybe they're taking Banks. If they trade down, I bet they take a tackle.
But I want to know from you, and I'm curious about this. This is not a scenario that's going to play out.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
But what if Carter and Hunter were both there? What if they were both there? Who do
Yep.
you like? I mean, who do you think this team should take? I mean, and nobody's really talked about this scenario because it's really not going to happen.
It's
But
not going to happen. You're
would you-
asking.
what
You're
would you do?
asking me. You know what my answer is. You're
it's
asking
going to
me.
be Hunter. Yeah.
Of course, it's going to be Hunter. That's 100% Hunter.
But are you concerned at all, honestly, after you watch this pro day?
So his pro day, Chris, I told you. I said, Chris, he doesn't run Chris routes. Like that was obvious in the pro day. Like he needs some work running precise routes because he wasn't. He's an athletic freak, and so I can deal with that. I think with Josh McDaniels there, I can deal with that. I think he'll be okay with that. Damn it, Chris, I just don't know. I just think you'll have to take him because when are you going to get a shot to draft somebody like that again? Drafting 4. You're not going to draft 4. If Rabel does what he's supposed to do, you should never be drafting 4 again.
I get concerned when I hear things like you can live with it, you can fix it. That's when things start to go. But Carter's got some similar. Carter's got some similar things too.
It's not that bad, though.
Carter has some similar things about his work ethic and so on.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, I'm taking Hunter too. I am. You know what pisses me off? Would you like to know?
Go ahead. I thought you were just going to tell us.
How do you lose? How do you win that goddamn game
Oh,
against Buffalo, man?
Oh, God.
And you know what? And I put that squarely on the shoulders of Bob Kraft because we said it right after the game. We said it. Why the hell didn't you fire Mayo after the Chargers blowout? When you
should have. That was so
embarrassing.
embarrassing in front of your crowd, Chris. He should have been fired the next morning. The next morning, the game was on a
I
Saturday.
would have waited till Monday
Monday, okay. Game's on a
for
Saturday.
strategic purposes.
Yep. Monday morning, you call him into a meeting, let him know he's fired. You're right, Chris. And then I don't care who's the acting coach for the rest of the season, the last game of the season. If you do that, Chris, we lose that game.
Yeah,
on
because
Sunday.
you could
Teams in disarray.
Buffalo could have put North Providence High School out there,
Yeah.
and they were still going to beat us if you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If
No,
you
you're
fired
right.
them on Monday morning, they would have been in such disarray that
Yep.
there's no chance, right? So
That's what he should have did.
because if you're drafting one right now, oh
You're holding all the cards. Now people want to trade up to take Ward. Like you could get a haul.
because
Right?
if you want Hunter, so let's say you don't care if it's Hunter or Carter, you don't care really. What do you think the Giants are going to give you?
Oh, of course they are. For Ward, to pick one, absolutely.
Oh, and I'm sorry, not even that. How about Cleveland? What's Cleveland going to give you? 3. Say they'd be picking 3, Tennessee 2, right? I mean,
Tennessee would give up too because Tennessee wants Ward badly. Tennessee would
but it's tougher for Tennessee, the number 2 spot for us, because they know we're not taking a quarterback. So why? What are they doing?
That's true.
Why are they
That's true.
trading
That's
up?
true.
It's
So you're right.
Cleveland,
That's true. It's Cleveland's a team.
Giants.
And it's a
that
Giant.
you got to
Yeah.
look at.
Chris, that like I don't know if people realize how much we got screwed winning that damn game, right? And the other thing is, Chris, of course, we had to be holding the 4th pick in this damn draft, right? Not last year.
In a crappy draft,
They had
too,
20
Neighbors.
receivers to choose from. You had Neighbors. You had all these guys
Harrison.
to pick from. Harrison. Well, Harrison went what, 3 last year?
I think he went 3, yeah, maybe.
Harrison
He went 4 because we picked May at 3.
We picked May at 3. Imagine sitting with you would be going out of your mind. Harrison 4. Oh my God, you loved Harrison.
Yeah, if he was in this draft,
If he was in this draft and he's sitting at 4 for you,
son of a
right?
bitch. So okay, but here we are. So you're saying you take Hunter over Carter? Okay.
I don't. Am I wrong in saying that?
No, I don't think you are. I mean, I understand you can build a defense for the future around this kid, but Carter, but you just can't keep passing on weapons. You just can't keep doing it, and that's the problem. They've put themselves into that spot where you can't pass on them. I want to talk about Campbell though, really quick. The arm length doesn't bother me. If you're
at his pro day, Chris, he measured 33.
Listen, it's all in how you play. It's the type of play. It's the type of technique that you have. If you're not, he plays longer than his arms are. If you understand what I mean. And he played against NFL talent. So if you're really wanting to take the tackle and you're hell bent on a tackle, I just don't know why you need to take him at 4. Like, why can't you trade to 6 and take him?
You can. I don't think he's going before then. You can. You absolutely can.
Get something. Get a 2nd round pick. Get a 3rd. Play that game.
I don't know. Depending on how much somebody's moving up, Chris, to take that spot from you to take. Presumably, if somebody's moving up the 4, they're doing it to take Shedeur Sanders, right?
Well, and right now I'm looking at the draft.
If that's the case, even if you get a 3rd, Chris, not even to drop 2 spots, not even a 2nd. Well, now you got 3 third-round picks. That's huge because you need all the talent you can get on this team.
Because listen, you're picking at 4. Then you got Jacksonville, and you have the Raiders, and then you have the Jets. Okay, so I can see the Raiders trying to do a deal. Maybe. Yeah. Carolina, I don't see that happening. I could see New Orleans trying to come up, but now you're down to 9. Now you're probably not going to have Campbell.
No, if you're going down to 9, Chris, now you're drafting probably the kid from Texas. If you want to tackle.
If you want to tackle.
Which
I'm okay with too. I listen, I know, you know what it is, Mark? I'm just not sold on. Am I crazy, guys? I'm not sold on needing to get that tackle there. I'm not.
Yeah.
Am I nuts? Because everybody thinks I'm nuts.
You have faith in Marone. He'll be able to build with what we got. And Chris, we could still go get Tyquan Smith, who's out there, hanging out there.
Tyron, yeah.
Tyron. I keep calling him Tyron. You could go get him, right? I don't know why they don't. I don't know what they're waiting for.
There are other tackles. There are other like if you did the deal I'm talking about.
You like the kid from Boston College. He'll be there in the 3rd round, Chris.
I do. I mean, he's a swing tackle. I don't know that he's step in and start day 1. But with the Tyron Smith, I think you could get him. and him playing behind, and we
That's
see
fine.
what Wallace is going to do. We see what Marone can make out of some of these guys,
Yeah.
But there are other tackles that are around in that end of the first round to get back up, because if you're making a trade like that and Campbell's not there, and listen, if you're making a trade to 9, Banks is there.
Banks will be there. Yeah.
You take Banks out of Texas. I'd rather take Walker than Banks. Walker destroyed him.
I don't know if Walker would be there at 9 though, Chris.
Yeah, maybe not.
I don't
Uh,
think so.
So just not sold. I see all the mock drafts and have Campbell.
What about the other kid, Chris? We haven't heard from about his name in a while, but what about that kid Mason Graham from Michigan?
at 4?
No, if you drop down to say 6, 7,
Because I think Jacksonville's going to take him at 5.
take Graham. Okay. I don't like him personally. I don't like him, but
I'd rather have Walker.
I'd rather have Walker than Graham. I
mean,
agree with that.
if you're drafting a defensive player,
Yeah.
if you're
I
saying,
agree
well,
with
yeah,
that.
we're going to draft one of these defensive guys, yeah, I think I would rather have Walker,
Yeah,
because you got
I
Milton
would-
Williams now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
But again, I still like my draft scenario. I still like my Jet scenario. I really do. You got one? You got an interest? What do you need to do? What scenario has to take place for them to come back up and take? Well, first of all, where do you think the wide receiver from Ohio State? Remind me of his name again. Ikabu, or I can't.
Yeah,
I can't say his name.
it's tough to pronounce his name. I don't want to botch it on him.
Yeah.
But I think I know you think, Chris, there's a shot he's there when you pick in the second round. I don't believe so. I believe he's going to end up going close to where Brian Thomas Jr. went last year. I think you're going to see him
20,
go
21?
between, like, I think Thomas went like 21. I think you're going to see this kid from Ohio State go between 21 and like 23, 24. I think he's going to go in that range, 21 to 24.
So, what scenario do you need in order to have cap? What's the capital you need? And what scenario do you use?
Well,
to get there?
I think you're going to have to get. You're going to have to probably get at least a minimum of, to trade down. In your trade down, Chris, you're going to have to get a third round pick back. I don't know if they'll give you a second round pick back, but you're going to have to at least get a third round pick back, because then you're going to have to take that third round pick and probably something in next year's draft.
See,
I'm sorry. You're probably going to have to give up your second round pick. At least your second round pick, which is at the top of the second round. So if you're trading to go up to 24, okay, you're going to have to give your second round pick up. Maybe you're going to have to give up
the other third round pick.
The other third round pick to move
the one
up.
you got for Judon.
Yeah. And that's fine. I would, if you get a third
And
round
maybe
pick to
something
trade,
next year.
but if you get a third round pick to trade down, you still got 2 third round picks now, because now you'd go to 3. So if you give up Judon's pick and your second round pick, okay, you trade back up and take him, and then you still got 2 third round picks coming up.
Well, because whatever
That's
you
what I
got,
would do.
let's not forget, what are you getting from the team that you're trading down to? You're getting something from them. So, for example,
That's what I'm talking about. You're probably
yeah.
going to get a
Get
third.
another
I'm
third.
thinking, right? That's
because to do your scenario, look, it's the Raiders. Because I think Tom Brady loves Sanders.
Oh, I think he does too.
So if they trade up 2 spots to you to get Sanders, and you get them that third pick and a second pick, and you get a few things from them. Yeah, right. You not only can you do the deal, so you do that at 6, and you either take Campbell or you take Walker. I'll take Walker. You do the deal to come back up and take the Ohio State wide receiver, and now with the other picks you got left, you take a tackle, and in the same, you take if you can get the tight end from LSU, you get him.
Yeah, he won't be there in the third round, I don't think.
Well, you can also maneuver then too.
Who
You
knows?
can still do some maneuvering
Who knows?
back.
This is it. Who knows, right? You don't know. But
Those are good players you're getting.
they're good. They're good players. They're good players. It's going to be interesting, Chris, to see how this plays out.
Yeah.
Because the other issue is they don't like to give up draft capital. But Vrabel, when he was with Tennessee, if he wanted a guy,
he did it to us. He did it
to
against us. He
dumped
popped
us
up
to go
above
get
us.
Howard Landry
Yes.
because he thought Belichick was going to take him.
Yeah, because that's who I wanted.
And we were sitting right behind the Patriots. They were sitting right behind us in that draft, and he jumped us. So he's willing to maneuver. Wolf wasn't, but I think if Vrabel, there's a player there Vrabel wants, you have to think Vrabel's in tune with that Ohio State program, Chris. He's got to know how good this receiver is.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're right. So we'll see what happens. But Weekly Rewind was presented by CORSO Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm, CORSOLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. Hey, and don't sue us, please. CORSO Law Group's going to come to the rescue. When we come back, going to hear from one of you in the nation. Heated Hotline is next.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to CORSOLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys.
Back in with more Pats Nation. Okay, Mark. Joe says we got a pretty good one today. He said Joe tells me that we have a write-in. Okay?
Okay.
He tells me that I'm really going to like it.
Oh, you're going to. All right, let's see.
Now,
he's
been a smart ass for the last two shows.
Now I'm
springing
interested.
things on us left and right. So let's have it, Joe.
Yes,
Hey,
and Christopher's right. What's that?
Joe, you got the heated hot. You got the
Yeah, I don't know.
you got the heated hotline back. A lot of surprises today, Mark.
A lot of things happening. Mercury's on a retrograde.
He's been working hard in the bunker.
Some things are working, some things. But yes, we did have a write-in. And you know what? I got to say to the fans, we've had some call-ins, and I keep picking the ones that are going to get you guys rolling. And then this one came in, and it says, "Hi, guys. It's Paul from Providence."
All right, I'm done. Good night, everybody. It's now Joe and Mark's show. I'm out.
This guy's great. Yes, I'm back. I'm like Schwarzenegger and Terminator, he writes. Why do the Patriots keep making themselves look like fools? So they have voluntary OTAs this week. Of course, they have to make it a point to show video clips of the guys showing up or doing something to let you know the key guys are there, and this is different than last year. You show you're different on the damn field not by posting video clips. Then the briefly posted video of Vrabel laying down expectations for players, but took it down shortly after. Another bad look. What is this, the third grade class, and you have to set expectations as the teacher? Bad look for Vrabel, boys. Your thoughts on what you think is being accomplished by Vrabel. And of course,
don't say it. He said,
Go Giants.
He said, "Go Giants."
Go Giants. The guy loves the Giants. He's a Giants fan.
The Giants fan who's watching Corso and Catone and the Pats Nation and the real deal.
I don't care. Screw you, Paul.
Listen, I give my credit, Chris. He's listening. Listen, obviously he's listening to us because he's written in a few times, right?
Yes,
but he's a Giants fan.
You like seeing me get pissed off. That's what it is.
He does.
You like seeing that. Every time he says Giants, I got to think about 07. I want to. Oh God!
Listen, don't bring up 07. Don't bring it up because you know why we lost. So don't bring it up. You know why we lost.
It's funny because I wanted to play. And I thought Joe had cut those clips, and I wanted to later on in the show. I planned on asking Joe to play the Vrabel and something from Belichick too. So I guess
can play it.
If you're ready, we can do it. In a minute, we can do it in this segment. Yeah,
it fits.
Okay, so let's talk about Paul. Honestly, thank you for the writing. We always appreciate it. Okay. Well, to address some of his points. It was a long one. Where do we start? So, okay, the OTAs. Well, first the OTAs happened. Let's talk about that. It was interesting. You saw the quote from Vrabel about the OTAs. And what he writes is, I write a letter voluntarily because they're voluntary, optional, whatever. I write a letter voluntarily to the players to make sure that they voluntarily read it and voluntarily show up. This is what Vrabel writes. So was it really voluntary, Mark?
Absolutely. Listen, no, not this time, because maybe 2 years from now it might be, but this is his first, this is his first look with these players, right? So you bet your ass he made it known. Yeah, it's voluntary, but you want a spot in this roster, you'll be here.
I had no problem with that.
Oh, I had no
That
problem
comment.
with that at all. No problem at all.
That wasn't taken down. But what he was talking about was, and I heard this before it was, and I thought, Joe, you caught it because Joe, Joe's on top of his game. So I think you caught it, Joe. Let's hear it.
That I would ask us to try to abide by. One is to respect the team. Okay, respect the football team and the people that are here. Okay, the second one is, I'd like you to have, when we're in a meeting, I know what the style may be, just pull your hood down in a meeting. That's all I ask, I just ask that when we're in a meeting, that we just pull our hood down and we go from there. Be on time, we just talked about time. Be on time. And if I can't be on time, Christian, what's the easiest thing to do? You would just call, right? You would just call and communicate, All you got to do is say, hey, something came up, I'm going to be a little bit late. Now, after about 4 or 5 times, that starts wearing off, This is just a once in a while. All it is a respect thing, And the cell phones, we all got cell phones, Most of you have more than one, as a matter of fact. Just leave the cell phone in your bag, but just put the phone away. What my goal was, that I told everybody in the building, and I told Mr. Kraft, I told the coaches, it was to build a program that you guys and the coaches and the staff wanted to be a part of, that they wanted to protect. When you care about something, you protect it, and that you were proud of it. That I'm proud to be a New England Patriot. I'm proud of the way that we do things. I'm proud of the way we prepare. I'm proud of the way we practice. And I'm proud of my teammates for the effort in which they play.
So he goes on to say, Mark, he starts talking about the other people in the organization. He talks about the support staff people, the people that cook for them and pick this stuff up. He said, hey, look, these are not your valets. These are not your maids. These are not your butlers. You treat these people with respect, he said. Me, you want to swear at me and yell at me, we can deal with that. But these people, you make sure that you show them the utmost respect because they're there to help you. Okay. Now.
And they pulled it down, though, Chris. It was very interesting. Joe, I give you a lot of credit, Joe. You caught that before they pulled it down.
I mean, yeah.
So, okay. Do you agree with Paul? What the hell? Well, first of all, do you agree with what do you think about it?
Well, listen. I don't have a problem with him behind closed doors giving that message to the team because, listen, evidently, this had to be a goddamn country club last year, Chris, where anything went. There were no rules and no structures. I think
no
Mayo
silos.
No silos. Yeah, there were no silos. I think Mayo let them get. I don't think we truly realize how dysfunctional that place was last year, Chris.
Right.
And I think somebody must have told Vrabel, listen, this place was an absolute joke last year. You're going to have to lay some groundwork down like these guys are college kids. Because Vrabel coached in college, right? He was at Ohio State. Like they might have said to him, you're going to lay the rules down like these are college kids because this was out of control last year. So I think that's probably why he did that, Chris, because he had to. Now, is it setting expectations for a third grade classroom like Paul said? Yeah, maybe it is a little bit. But if they needed it, because the joint was a crazy house last year, well, then so be it. Do it. Who cares? But I got an issue with why are you posting that? Like that's a locker room conversation. He's going to lay the law down because you were a bunch of goddamn idiots last year, and you did whatever the hell you wanted because the coach was a cartoon character, right? Why do you got to publicly let that be known to the league?
I would love to know who put it up.
I don't know.
Because my guess, I don't.
That had to be a mistake.
I speculate that somebody in the PR department puts this thing up, and then Vrabel says, "Hey, get that down." That's me talking to my team. I don't want to hear it. But you know what, Mark? I got no problem with any of it. I have no problem with telling these guys to take their hoods off and pay attention. I want to see your face when I talk to you. That's what I say to my guys. Show me your eyes right now. I want to see your face when I speak to you. And the cell phones, you put them in the bags. I don't want to hear about it. Forget the cell phones. And you know what? Yeah, walk around this place with respect. Walk around this place like the Patriots matter and mean something, because it's been a friggin' shit show for the last 4 years, and it's been a goddamn disgrace, a lack of respect for that place. So I don't have a problem
disgrace
with
for
it.
you to even talk about it.
Yeah.
That's why I had to put it because I'm like, these people are making the minimum like $850,000 to play
minimum.
football as a minimum.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like
I mean, they work hard.
you're
I
a
mean, they work their ass
no,
off.
but you're
They do.
yeah, but like my point is that like this speech shouldn't even happen. You shouldn't even have to talk to them like third
Well,
graders.
it's going to happen for this team because this team, none of them are like that. None of them adhere to any of that stuff. And it was clear as a bell, and he needed to lay down that pride. You know what, Mark? I'll tell you what about putting it up. It's a bad look. I don't care. I just don't care. Everybody's too goddamn sensitive today. They're too sensitive. Well, what stays in the meeting room stays. You know what? Who cares? I mean, who cares? Just do it. Make it so we don't have to put anything like that up again. I don't really care that it's up. If your ass is sore because you put that video, if you're a player and your butt hurt because that stupid video is out on thing, you don't belong in playing football, and you don't belong on this team. Get the hell out, Joe Milton. You know.
Yeah.
So now, what's interesting, is.
Joe, don't you play this, Joe. Joe, don't you listen to him, Joe.
When you
I got overruled.
play it.
Wrong. In fact, you should be excited when you make a play. Hell, look at all the work you put into it, all the time that you spent and practice of put into it, and to go out there in a game competitively and execute it well and make a play, you should be excited about it. And your teammates should be excited too. And you see when we're playing with energy and when we're playing with emotion and when we're not. Nice play, Ty. Can't even see one guy saying, good hit. Walk back to the huddle and it's God, it looks like we don't even care. We aren't good enough to play that way. I don't know that anybody is. So Gary, you know it's a good play. Just doesn't really register with anybody else.
So that's, of course, was Bill Belichick addressing the team some years ago. You know,
because he references Ty, so he's either talking to
Ty
Ty
Warren.
Warren
Ty
or
Warren.
Ty Law, one or the other.
Yeah, it was Ty Warren. And so why I wanted Joe to play that.
Because you want to
Because I pull my pants down for Belichick. That's why.
You absolutely pull your pants down for Belichick.
But listen, though. Everyone said, well, he's not cut from Belichick's cloth. I mean, he didn't coach under Belichick. So, he's not on his tree and all that. But didn't those two guys sound familiar? Those two guys sound similar to you?
Yeah, it did a little bit. A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
With the tone and the presence.
But Chris, you're going to realize something. So Vrabel comes to us as basically a nothing when he came to us back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And his formative years and what he learned about what it takes to win and be a winner in this league, he learned from that. He didn't coach under him, but he learned it from Belichick and from those veterans and from those guys that were in that locker room. So of course that is shaped how he molded himself, and what as a coach, I'm sure that's molded what he expects from his players. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I said, I know they don't.
Doesn't matter. He didn't coach under him.
I could see Belichick giving the same address to that team that Vrabel did, talking about the respect and talking about what it means, and get your hoods off and put your cell phones away. And when you show up, it means something. We want to win the division. That's the goal to start. Like, that's Belichick talk. I was thrilled to death to hear Vrabel talking that way. I don't know about you.
No, yeah. Listen, at first I was like, what the hell is he talking to these guys? And then after I thought about it a little bit, Chris, I'm like, yeah, you know what? No, that's fine. That's good because he's, this is a professional organization. This is what's expected. Listen, the stuff we heard coming out of that locker room about the wide receiver room, Chris, we used to get nuggets of stuff last year coming out about that room and how it was unprofessional. I don't think it was just that room, Chris. I think it was a much bigger problem in that locker room because guys were just allowed to do whatever they want, express whatever they want. And I think it turned into a shit show, that locker room, to the point where I think that kind of probably played into Kraft's decision too, Chris. We can't give this guy another year to grow into being a head coach because this team's in disarray. The locker room's a mess. I think that's why that's part of why they pulled the plug, Chris. So yeah, Vrabel had to go in and do that.
So Paul, listen, thank you. Hey, listen, thank you for the writing because it allowed me to play a Belichick piece.
Oh, Paul, listen, please don't do that. Don't call in anymore or write in if you're going to do that.
Excellent work. Excellent work. Heated Hotline was presented by CORSO and Catone. Saturdays, 12 Eastern. Hey, we got Catone's comments, B's and C's, Yankees, Red Sox. Make sure you're tuning in to that every Saturday. When we come back, we're going to break down corners, safeties. We're going to do it in Pat's preview. No flipping.
Mark, I'm serious. I think I lost my mind.
Certainly, it was an exciting show.
I want Murray.
What?
That's
crap?
it.
What is wrong with you?
Get him on this damn show.
You lost your mind tonight.
That's all I have to say.
Lost your mind.
What are you writing now?
So I'm working over here. You're talking about nonsense. I'm working.
That's why we are the real deal New England Field. It's going to be real.
Yeah, damn right it's going to be real, Joe. Damn right. Back in with more Pats Nation. All right, guys, here we go. Mark, get your computer ready. Get all your stats ready to go. Get the players because we are going to talk corners and safeties, and we're going to do it now.
Pets Preview.
All right, Mark, let's start with the safeties. Okay, this was your homework assignment.
Okay, I got it.
How did you do?
I'm ready. I got it. So listen. So first of all, Chris, we don't need a lot of these guys in this draft that are going to go higher.
Yeah,
are box safeties, and we don't need box safeties. We need center fielders. We need guys that can play, the free safety. We need guys that can play the middle of the field. So that kind of limits a little bit guys at the top that are going to be drafted higher in this draft.
And some guys that we wouldn't take because we need other things at that spot.
We need other things at that spot. So I'm not taking a safety, Chris, in the first round, obviously, right? So, I mean, do you take a safety in the second, third, fourth round? Yeah, probably. And I don't even know if you take him probably third, fourth round. Now, I don't know how far these guys will last, Chris, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I do like the kid from Oklahoma, right? But I don't think he'll be there in the third round, Chris. That Billy Bowman Jr.
Yeah.
Right. So because
I got him at 119.
Okay, so maybe he is there then, Chris, at 119. Okay, because Chris, actually has track speed. Okay, he runs a blazing 4.42 40. That translates. If you watch his tape, Chris, it translates to the field. The way he changes direction, all of that translates with this kid. And the thing that I like about him, Chris, is he can play center field. He played a couple. He would rotate around in the backfield when but he played multiple snaps, Chris, at deep safety, nickel. Like you can move him around the field.
He's a coverage guy.
He's a coverage guy, but you can put him in center field, Chris, and he'll be okay. Okay.
The tackling, real quick on him. You'll have to deal with the fact that he's not a great tackler, but we're not worried. We need somebody to play center
Chris,
field.
If he's playing center field,
exactly.
I'm okay with that.
And he played at a good school.
I'm all right with that. If he plays center field, I'm okay with that. I don't care. Another guy, Chris, that I think will go later in the draft is this kid Malaki Moore from Alabama. Now he's another guy, Chris, who he understands what's going on. If you watch the tape on him, Chris, he has natural ball skills. His ball skills jump off the screen. All right. He can track the ball like a receiver. Okay. Yeah. If it's a 50-50 ball in center field, he's going to get it. He has great footwork. This kid, Chris, he's a great communicator. Please snap, adjustments. You could put him in center field, Chris, and he could do like McCourty. He'll organize the whole back end of that defense for you.
Where do you see him going?
I think I think he's late second, early third. You probably would have to use your first, third round pick on him. He won't last much longer. I see him late second round. What do you think? Or do you think he'll go sooner?
I think because of the edge in this game, the edge players.
He'll fall to the third round, right?
He fall, and then depending on what you do with your trades on it, but I like the player, Mark. I'm with you. I like the player.
I think, the other guy, Chris, and I'm going to give you just two more because I know you want to talk about corners.
No, yeah, and then I got one to give you. I want to ask you about.
I'll do it real quick.
No, it's all right. Go.
The other kid, Chris, that I like, this kid from Ohio State. Okay.
Ransom. Lathan
Ransom. I do like Ransom a little bit, Chris. He's also a center fielder. He can play all over the backfield, but he's he can stop the run, Chris. But you can put him. He played a lot of free safety in center field too. This is a kid, Chris. I'm talking like a 4th, 5th round pick. He's not going to go high. I don't think he's somebody in the
I got him
4th
at I got him at like 97 to 100.
Yeah, this kid's versatile, Chris. He can do a lot. He can play deep safety. If you want to put him in the box, you can put him in the box. You want to put him in a nickel role, he can put him in a nickel role. We would put him at deep safety, but he's versatile. He's versatile. Another guy, Chris, later in this draft, okay? I like the kid from Tulane.
Talking about Caleb
Renshaw. I like him from Tulane.
Yeah. I love me my D-backs, as you could see.
Chris, he's 4.3. He runs a 4.33.
Yeah.
Okay. This kid can play center field. You
don't see him more as a nickel guy?
He could be, Chris, but listen, he showed exceptional versatility. He can line up anywhere from deep safety to nickel to corner to box defender. He'll give a defensive coordinator multiple deployment options, Chris. But if you want to put him in center field, I think he could play center field. I like him because he's versatile, Chris.
Yeah.
You take him and you could develop him as a center field.
I got him around in like the 5th round.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Somebody later in the draft. That's what I'm saying, Chris. If you haven't had a chance to take a safety and he's there in the 5th, that's why I'm mentioning him. I think a kid like this, I think you could put him center field. You could put him anywhere, Chris. I mean, he'll play multiple positions, but I think because of his speed, Chris, he can cover the back end of that field. He'll cover sideline to sideline back there for you. He'll come up. If you know what I mean? I love his speed. A little small for me, 5'11", but for a center fielder. But in the 5th round, Chris, I mean, at that point,
yeah,
he's worth
absolutely.
All right, go ahead.
I got one guy that I want to ask you about, and from Penn State.
Yeah, I have him, Jalen Reed, but I see him more as a box safety.
Winston.
Oh, I thought it was Reed.
No, Kevin Winston, out of Penn State, Kevin Winston Jr. I got him ranked late 3rd round, but if he drops to the 4th round, okay, this is a kid. He's injury issues, which is why I think he may drop. Okay, look, in this 2023 season, his skills, his instinct, everything showed him to be a 1st-round guy. You're going to hear that a lot during the draft. He would have been a 1st-round guy if he did. I hate that. But this guy, if not for injuries, yeah, he's a 1st or 2nd-round pick. To me, he's one of the top safeties. If he can fully recover from the injuries, and you could catch him in the 4th round, he's got every instinct that a top flight safety would have. He can even come forward and hit, but he can play center field. Keep your eye on that guy, Winston. Mark. Corners. So, not talking about Hunter and Barron and Johnson. Okay, couple of guys though to look for. I mean, obviously, I like Siobhan Ravel out of East Carolina. I think he's 6'3", 4'4". But again, he's ranked somewhere in the 20. He's not going to be there. Let's get to the guys that may be there. My favorite player in the draft. And I have a personal interest in this, of course.
But he won't be there either. You don't think he'll go late 1st round?
Because of the hip injury, we're talking about Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame.
It's a shame, Chris. This kid would have been a top 15 pick in the draft.
He would have. Hurt. Yeah. Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame, formerly Brophy Prep, where I coached him. So, I coached this kid in high school. And he was probably the top 2-3 corners in the draft before he hurt his hip. Okay.
Chris, if he's healthy, though, I think he could step in immediately and help.
Immediately. This dude, you want a man, in this day and age, he's 6 feet, runs a 4.39. Okay. So say 4.4. All right. And I know this firsthand. Okay. You want to talk about a film rat, film study? This kid watches more film than anybody. I've never seen anything like this. And the way he can break film down, he comes from a football family. Okay. He's smooth in man coverage. The way he turns his hip, his instincts, he keeps his feet under him. His trigger step back for a break on the ball. Man, it's beautiful. It's so nice to watch. And when he was kicking on that Notre Dame secondary, they were the best secondary in football, in college
Chris,
football.
that national championship game against Ohio State is a different game if he's healthy and playing, because that freshman from Ohio State don't catch that ball late. And like that would have been a different game if he's on the field, Chris.
So you want a man cover? You want a man safety, man-to-man, press corner? Yeah, this is the guy. I would love to see him in a Patriots uniform. But again, I'm biased because I coached the man. So, but moving on from that, because I could talk about him all day. Darian Porter out of Iowa State. Okay, 6'4", runs a 4.3. He's a rare guy. Okay, he's a wide receiver that turned corner. Okay, so his ball skills are phenomenal.
Yep.
Okay, he's 95%. His height and length are excellent. Okay, he's got track speed. He's got some things to do, obviously, to learn. But I think he's a guy that has so much potential to be able to play corner. There's him. Another guy that I like is Thomas out of Florida State. Okay, I got him in the 60s somewhere. 6'2", 4. He runs a 4.5, so he's not elite speed. Okay, but he's long at 6'2". He's got real quick feet for his press man. So when he turns and spins and goes man with somebody, okay, he's not going to get caught in a flat foot false step. Okay, he's going to spin and go with someone. And his jam at the line's good at 6'2". So like him, that's another guy I like. And I want to go quick so you can get a guy in. I think you have. Later on in the draft, got him at about 130, is Noel Williams out of Cal. Okay. Strong press. Again, I like a lot of the press corners. Okay. This is another press man. Okay. Who can feel comfortable putting him on the line of scrimmage, pressing him up, and maybe not even having help over the top, because he's got that kind of speed. He's got the agility and he's got the jam. So another guy to look for, Noel Williams out of Cal. And the only other guy I'll say is Denzel Burke out of Ohio State. I'm talking about 182 in the draft. Day 3, a guy you can look at. He's a natural mover. Good eyes, feel for bump and run. Again, another bump and run guy. And he's a good off-zone guy, a zone coverage guy where he can get fluid steps, and his trigger steps back are good. He keeps everything under his center. And he's a 4-year starter, so you're going to get a lot of depth out of, he's a good depth guy, and he's mature enough to play late in the draft. What do you got?
I like Chris. He'll be there probably late. I say between 90. I got him rated between like a 97 and 100, right? Somewhere in that range.
Mm-hmm.
Zy Alexander out of LSU.
LSU, yeah.
Yeah, big corner, 6'2", Chris. But he'll use that size, Chris. He's physical at the line and press coverage. He's a bump. He's your type of corner. Right?
Yeah,
he's gonna play
I see him
coverage.
zone more, but yeah. Go ahead.
But he can put his size, Chris, and his physicality will allow him to play press coverage. He did that at LSU. He's a real fluid athlete, Chris, and I know one of the things you like, he can flip his hips and run vertically. I know you like the hips with these corners, and he stays in phase down the field, Chris. Things that you always mention on the show.
Yeah.
You'll see this kid on
doesn't
tape
lose the coverage.
Nope, he'll do that. If you watch him on tape, he stays in phase, which I know you like. So, and this kid, I got him at like 100, Chris. I'm not talking in the first 2 rounds of the draft here. This is a kid a little bit later in the draft.
I got him like 142. Yeah.
Well, I had him at 100, 142, same thing, right? But he's somebody, Chris. If he's there, you want some depth at corner, I take him.
Well, listen, and by the way, just real quick, he's a guy that you can convert to safety as well.
Yes. Okay, there you go.
Ben Morrison, let's take him. Let's take Ben Morrison.
You'll have a great draft if they take him.
We got to go. The Pats Nation was presented by CORSO and CATONE, Saturdays, noon Eastern. Hey, we got Bruins, Celtics, CATONE's comments. Make sure you're tuning into that. Come back next weekend, 8 a.m. Eastern, to this show. Going to have more draft analysis. Mark is ready to go with the wide receivers, so make sure you're sticking around for that. We are the Pats Nation. Enjoy your Sunday.